Hey everybody, and happy Saturday to you guys. I just got kind of moved to share some thoughts and stuff after the recent interactions on Facebook. It is apparent that even though it is not spring, I need to do a spring cleaning of my Facebook page. So the picture that's in the back of this live audio, it says stress is a choice and so is peace. Yes, 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 yes. And I needed this reminder myself, so I figured I would share it with other people. I just got kind of irked in a Facebook interaction, and I'm like, why am I even letting this bother me? It wasn't even something like major, but it made me realize we should really be mindful of the people that we surround ourselves with. Really mindful, even on social media. I mean, a lot of us spend a lot of time on social media, interacting with people. And when you do that, you're giving them your energy and you're also receiving their energy. And if that energy is stressing you out, what is the point? So I'm about to do a sweep of the friends list because I'm sorry, I just can't deal with stupid people. I hate to say it like that. I try not to be judgy. I really do. But some of the things that people say out of their mouths make it very clear that they're kind of lacking intellectually, and I don't have time for that. But back to the main reason why I started this live. So in saying that stress is a choice and so is peace, anything that we experience is a choice. Yeah, there are things that happen to us that seem to come out of nowhere. Some of those things blindside us a bit. Life is full of ups and downs, of course, but it's how we deal with it. That's the important part. So you're either choosing to let something bother you by giving it your energy and attention, or you can choose not to give it your energy and attention. So I just wanted to remind everybody that no matter what it is that you're going through at the moment, you still have a choice in it. Like, even if things are hitting you or happening to you that feel, overwhelming, or like they came out of nowhere, or that, like, you didn't ask for these things to happen, you still have a choice. You have to execute your own power by deciding how you interact to these things, or I'm sorry, how you respond and interact. So, with that in mind, happy Saturday to everybody. I hope everybody's having a peaceful day. One of the things that I wanted to share is something that I often do when I'm feeling a little bit stressed out and I have to, grab myself and put myself back on the peaceful path. And it's just very simple. You do have to remember that in every situation, how you respond to it is where your power comes from. You really can't control other people, can't control what they think, can't control what they say, can't control what they do. But that does not mean that you are powerless. That does not mean that you are left without choices in a situation. You and only you have the power to determine how you respond to things. And it's very important that you never, ever, 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 ever forget that. It's very important that you remember that, in your ability to choose how you respond to things lies your power. So, it's just really restructuring and refocusing how you view the things that happen to you. I'm writing actually a book on some of the things that have happened to me. And a lot of people don't know about the ups and downs that I've encountered. And I feel like if a lot of people did, they would be very surprised. But what I've realized is the difference in between me feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, depressed, or any other negative emotion has been how I've chosen to deal with certain situations. I don't really think that people give themselves enough credit for, their ability to handle the things that life throws their way. People lose jobs. Money is an issue at times with folks. relationships with other people, your friendships. A lot of different things can kind of like just make you feel like, oh my God, when am I going to be able to actually have some peace? You can have peace the moment that you decide to have peace. That sounds crazy to most people because they go, oh, well, I'll be at peace when this happens, or I'll be at peace when that happens, when I get that better job, when, I have that relationship that, will be fulfilling to me. No. It really doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You draw towards you. This is for everybody. I don't care what your religious thoughts are, how you affiliate. This is just universal, what I'm saying right now. We don't get what we want. We kind of get what we are. So if you want a person in a relationship to be, loving and peaceful and caring, you can't be an asshole and expect to attract that. So I'm saying all that to say that I'm hoping that everybody takes back their own power. We all have busy lives. We've got a ton of things that are going on. We really at times forget with the stressful busyness of life and then having to deal with other people's problems too, that we have a choice in the matter. It is perfectly okay for you to take a step back from people from time to time if you have to do so, because sometimes other people's issues are the things that are going to make you feel overwhelmed and stress you out. And you're important. Your peace of mind, your health is important. And one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves is to remove stress. Stress is a major contributing factor to people being unhealthy. So sometimes if that means you have to kind of back away from people, to handle yourself, that's okay. I mean, yeah, there's better ways to do it than just like simply ghosting on people. But anybody that's really your friend or really cares about you is going to understand that if you got to take a step back for a moment because you're choosing not to be stressed and you're choosing to have peace in your life, they should encourage that and they'll understand. I don't know. It just touched on me really to say this to people just because this is something that I've dealt with for a long time. And I've finally really embraced my personal power to choose peace. I choose to be in a peaceful state no matter what's going on around me. That doesn't mean that you're not aware of the problems and issues in the world. That doesn't mean that you're okay with the problems and the issues that go on within this world. What that means is you're choosing to give your focus towards peace and not necessarily towards the things that are going to stress you out. You can always be a person that has, some sort of contribution to change in the world, to making the world a better place. But you got to take care of number one. You got to make sure that you're okay. And one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself, most important things you can do for yourself, is to realize it's up to you whether you're stressed out or not. Yeah, I've worked a job that I hated. I've worked more than one job that I've hated. I worked in customer service for years. I took escalated calls from people. I had to hear people scream at me, yell at me, call me names because they were mad about their bill, mad about this, mad about that, whatever. And I remember the first time that somebody yelled at me, I was working for a credit card company. And on Christmas Eve this was on Christmas Eve, this lady wanted her credit limit to be increased. She was literally saying she was at the checkout line. I need this to be increased now. Now, just so you guys know, on my end as the customer service rep at that time, literally all I did was push a button. I push a button and it tells me whether or not the company would approve you for a credit limit increase or not. I mean, it really wasn't up to me. I just pushed the button. She was declined, so I had to deliver this information to her in, in a calm way, and she hit the roof. And that was like, I remember feeling like, oh my God, like I got very upset that she was yelling at me. And again, this was my first call center job. But years later, I remembered that scenario when I was sitting in a management position, taking escalated calls from angry customers on a constant basis. What changed my whole frame of mind is I'm not going to let these people stress me out. Yes, it was part of my job to have to deal with people who were unpleasant. That was something that I dealt with on a daily basis. But I refused to let them stress me out. I just kept my head in the game. I'm a solution oriented person. So when it came to having to work in a call center environment where you constantly have people calling in that aren't nice and don't have any problem growing what I call phone balls, because anybody that's worked in customer service, I'm sure you've heard of this before. People on the phone tend to talk to you all types of ways they probably wouldn't talk to you if you were standing right in front of them, because, you know, they've got that protective barrier of a telephone. You know what I mean? They don't have to worry about you punching them in the face if they say something offensive. Not that I would do that, but I'm just saying. But what I realized is I spent a lot of time when I took the escalated calls at first, as years went on, coming home stressed out, feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can handle this job, even though I was good at it, because I was taking on other people's stress. I was going, oh my gosh, like remembering conversations that I had once I left work, thinking about what I wished I said to that person, or, you know, that I wasn't allowed to say because it wouldn't be professional, all these things. And I realized you got to let that shit go. You just simply, you can't carry it around with you. You're allowing yourself and choosing to be stressed out. Hey, Will. Yes, it does make sense. The how is definitely the challenge. How do you do that? So here's some tips, some things that I do. Now, granted, there are some people that you're not going to have a choice about whether you can be around them or not. Your coworkers, like, you go to work, you didn't choose to be around these people. Like, you didn't handpick your coworkers. You guys just all happen to work at the same place. So since you all work at the same place, you know, you're going to be around some people that you probably wouldn't choose to want to be around in your personal time. They're probably not your kind of people. Hey, April. And because they're not your type of people, it's not like you're choosing your friends. But do you let them ruin your day every day? I used to do that. I'd walk in, I'd work with people who were energy draining, sucking vampires and be like, here we go again. I would be so upset the moment that I walked in the door. I set the tone for my whole day. I was choosing to succumb to being stressed out. I was choosing to come in and plan out my whole day already. Like, I'd walk in before anybody even said anything. When I was working in customer service, I would be like, here we go. And half the time it was the people I was working around, not necessarily the phone calls I was getting. So what we had just said is, you know, it makes sense not to choose stress over peace, but you don't know how to. I don't know what a lot of people's views are, what they do to calm themselves down. I suffered for a long time from anxiety, like really, really, really bad anxiety. I couldn't stand to be around crowded groups of people. I love going to concerts, but sometimes I would find, like, when I was with that many different people, picking up on all their energy and stuff would just make me nuts. It really would. What I chose in those situations was to focus on my purpose for being there. So, like, if you're getting stressed out at work, you gotta kind of remind yourself, you're not here for all the extra stuff. You're not here to deal with the gossip. You're not here to deal with people's BS. You're there to make your money. Now, granted, I'm going to always encourage other people, if you're not happy in your job, try to find your calling. Try to do something that you love. Oh, let me see what April said. You know, the only thing that really helped me in that type of environment was being able to put my headphones on. Yes, music is life. And I feel April, with her Pisces moon, she probably understands this just as much as I do. You have to find your peaceful place. There are certain times during the day. I mean, I used to smoke cigarettes all the time. Now I don't smoke them so much. But on my smoke breaks, I'd take my phone with me. I had my earbuds. And I would just walk away from the building, get lost in my music, refocus, recenter, listen to something that made me feel a lot better. Some people, I think they kind of cling to their stress. And the reason that they do that is because it's familiar. Like, anybody that's worked in customer service already knows, like, we have our little things that we do to try to combat it anyway that is funny between coworkers. Like, for me personally, it was the mute button. I would be quick to hit the mute button and say something to a customer that I knew they couldn't hear, just to be able to get some of that stress off of me. They used to laugh because when we would train new people at one of my jobs, people would hear me that were new. Like, I'd be like, you know what, ma'am, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm really trying to find a solution for you so that you won't have this problem anymore. You fucking stupid bitch. I can't believe the fuck you're talking to me like this. Who the fuck do you think you are? If I was standing right the fuck in front of you, I'd punch you in the face. Yes, ma'am, I totally understand. And the new people would be looking like, did she just say that? Nah, I ain't say it. Just click with the mute button. But again, I got into customer service in 2001 and I was in it up until 2015. And yeah, I got stories, y'all. Like, I have some stories. I used to let those people stress me out so much. I worked at this one place. It was an online school. And unfortunately, it was kind of shady. Not shady, on anybody's part that worked there, but, more so shady the owners. Well, we had this customer and she's the worst person I think I've ever talked to. I'll never forget her at all. And matter of fact, if anybody's ever bored one day and you really want to give yourself a laugh, go on ripoffreport.com and look up the Jubilee Academy. And you'll see that I had a back and forth with a customer. So she was terrible to me on the phone. She screamed at me. She hollered at me. And I had to be on the phone with her for 45 minutes. It was because her payment wouldn't go through. And I was just the type of person that would always be like, okay, why wouldn't a payment go through? Address mismatch, or there's this going on, or there's that going on. And as it turned out, she had changed her address with her bank. I actually stayed on the phone with this crazy woman while she called her bank, but address changes took like 14 business days to happen. So it wasn't even our fault that her payment wouldn't go through. But she was so terrible to me that years after, when I no longer worked for that company, I had an old coworker call me like, Kathy Perkins made a report on ripoffreport.com. And I was still so pissed off from that interaction that happened with that lady 2 years prior. I actually engaged her in battle on ripoffreport.com. I went on there and was like, well, I couldn't say certain things to you before, but I don't work for that company anymore. So how about this, bitch? Like, it was crazy. That's how much I used to internalize stress. Like, think about that. 2 years later, the mere mention of this lady's name stressed me out to the point where I felt like I had to have a back and forth with her. I know part of that is probably for any of my astrology peeps. That's my 0 degree Mars and Virgo. We don't play. But I went there and I didn't have to. I chose to continue to be stressed out about somebody I'd never have to deal with ever again. So finding your peaceful place. That's the thing that I wanted to talk about. If you can choose being peaceful over being stressed, what are the differentiating factors? What makes the difference? Where your choices lie? So I guess for me, I use the work example because that's common for anybody. We're all probably going to encounter people we don't like at work that stress us out and make us want to not only pull out our hair, but pull out their eyeballs. But the thing about it is you're taking time away from your actual life when you're stressed out like that. Stress is the hugest contributor to physical issues. Do you really want to cause your body to go through unnecessary trauma because of stress, because of other people? I mean, literally, you gotta change your thinking on it. That's where it comes from. So when you allow other people to stress you out, when you choose to allow them to do this, basically, it's almost like saying, hey, you know what? I can't stand that bitch over there at work. I'm going to let her determine how long I live. I'm going to let her determine the quality of my life. I'm going to let her determine, what my experience is like at work. You just got to shut it off. Like, yeah, you're going to get annoyed. That happens. You're a human being. But you have to realize you're allowing it to happen. So if somebody says something smart to you, or they give you, a sideways glance, or, any of those types of things, do you really have to dwell on it? Or can you focus on something else? For me, one of the things that works is I'm a creative person. So I always have something else going on, like outside of work. Something that allows me to kind of, be free. I focus on and immediately redirect my attention to something that makes me happy, something that makes me feel good. And I know if you're at work, for a lot of people, what would make you feel good is when it's whatever time it is when you get to leave. I get that. And it's hard to dwell on that at work because anybody knows when you watch the clock, time goes slower. It goes so much slower, so much slower. But what you can do in the moment when you catch yourself getting stressed out by anyone or anything, especially in a work situation, pull back, go, I'm not going to let them affect the quality of my life, and choose something else to think about. What that thing is up to you. What that thing is, I can't tell you what it is because everybody's different. Everybody has different things that make them happy. It might be a genre of music. It might be a book. It could be anything. It could be a project you're working on, a goal that you have. You got to redirect your focus. That's number one. Sorry, like anybody out there who finds that too simplistic of a thing to be thrown out there as, a solution to not letting people stress you out. I'm sorry, it starts there. Focus is everything. There's this thing that we say. Aw, let me see this. I had such a bad anxiety attack at work on the clips. Aw. See, April, you chose the path that was peaceful for you. I know how hard that decision is. I was working for this company that owns several different dentist offices. And my sister worked there too. And I kind of liked working with my sister because I'd never done that before. But the way these people treated us, it was just like they treated us as the lowest of the low. Now, by the time I worked at this job, I'd been in management. I'd been team lead at other places. So I didn't appreciate being treated like a peon. And it was killing me too. So I totally understand that, April. Like, you have to make the decision of whether or not what you're dealing with is something that you can continue to deal with, or if it's going to bring you an early death. Like I look at things in a literal way. Like when I was working there, I'm like, this place is going to kill me. This place is going to like slowly drag me down into hell. And I refuse to be dragged down into hell. And we can make excuses all day and go, I got bills to pay. I got this to do. I got that to do. Understand that. Nobody is ever going to tell you, oh, your bills aren't important. Being able to put money on your table for your children isn't important. That's ridiculous. Well, of course those things are important. However, how are you going to be good to anybody else? How are you going to take care of those children? How are you going to continue to bring in money if you're not good to yourself? If you allow anyone to steal your peace? How does that work? You'll come up with solutions and suggestions. For other people, a lot of times we can, but what do we do for ourselves? When do we get to the point where we go, you know what, I'm choosing to be stressed out? That was a very brave move, April. And I know that's hard because it took me forever to walk away from stressful work situations. And you figure you spend the most of your day, the majority of your time, for most people, at least 40 hours a week in your place of employment. What are you getting from that besides money? You getting a headache? Are you feeling fulfilled? Are you happy? Do you have any sense of peace, joy, accomplishment, any of that? I will, to the day that I die, encourage people to walk away from situations that do not support their highest good. And I know it's a scary thing to do. It's a very scary thing to do. I've done it myself. But once you do it and then you walk into something that aligns more with your peace, it's invaluable. Like, you add to your actual life. So I'm trying to remember the point I was getting back to. Oh, excuse me. In any situation where you're feeling stressed out, you have to identify what is the cause of it. Okay, it's easy to be like, okay, this job just stresses me out. I've been there. I understand that. Then you got to start doing something about it. Are you going to allow that job to stress you out for the rest of your life? Is this the only choice that you have? I'm starting to notice that with people, and a lot of people don't get this. It's easier to find a job when you have one. So if a job is a primary source of your stress, it would probably be a good idea to start looking for something else to do. I know we should all feel grateful for what we have. And, with gratitude brings more things to be grateful for. But how many times does the universe have to slap you in the face and be like, you're feeling uncomfortable because this isn't for you. You're feeling uncomfortable because this isn't for you, before you go, you know what? This isn't for me. Yeah, April, I agree. For my astrology peeps, earth signs, it's hard to walk away from stressful work situations and choose peace over comfort and security. In my astrological chart, I am a Pisces sun and a Pisces Mercury, but like almost literally everything else in my chart is earth. Like I'm a Libra rising, but I have Venus and Taurus. I have Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn in Virgo. I know what it is. Like, especially when you have children too, you're like, oh, I gotta stick with this. You know, these babies need to eat. These bills need to get paid. All of these things need to happen. Like, I totally get it. And it's weird. Really quick too, for anybody that even is familiar with any astrological concepts. It was during Jupiter transiting my first house. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So wherever it falls in your astrological houses during its transits will tell you the area of the life that will expand. So it was in my first house, which is the house of self. And I remember I was first looking into astrology at the time when I started learning about that. And the lady that was teaching me was like, oh, in September 2016, Jupiter's going to start transiting your first house. And I'm like, okay. She's like, be careful not to get fat. And I was like, did she say not to worry? What? I'm going to get fat. If I didn't get fat, I got so fat. I moved to Jersey and my eating habits have totally gone down the drain. That's 70 pounds that I lost. They came back. But, I'm saying all this to say it was during Jupiter going, through my first house. I know this sounds foreign to some people who aren't into astrology, but what I'm saying is essentially, I made the biggest life changes ever. I'm now my own boss. I own a personal assistant company. I do graphic design. I do all types of stuff and I work on my own terms. No longer do I work in that office environment where I felt like they were treating me like a peon. And every day I walked in there, it felt like there was this heavy cloud on me. I made the decision that wasn't for me anymore. And whatever I was going to have to do to be comfortable with myself, I was going to do. So a lot of people, they kind of look at things like they have to suffer. I don't know where this long suffering concept comes from with people where in order for you to have the simple basic things like, to be able to provide for your family and give them a good life, that you have to suffer for it. Putting in hard work is a lot different than feeling like you deserve to suffer. I don't quite understand why we feel like we have to punish ourselves in order to have things. I don't think one thing is mutually exclusive with the other. Like, okay, so where do you find that balance? What gives you peace? First of all, that's the first question that you have to ask. If stress is a choice and you're choosing it, when you could be choosing peace, what is peace like to you? What does that mean? For me, that means being in a situation where I can be independent. If we're talking about as far as work is concerned, think about ideally where your gifts lie where you work. And then not only that, the environment that you need in order to nurture your gifts. So for me, I'm creative and I'm an independent worker. I don't need someone on my back 24/7 screaming at me about what to do. That does not help. That is not something that contributes to my peace. What I find to be peaceful for me is being allowed to be myself. Yeah, we all have to kind of like, integrate into certain environments and follow rules. But for the most part, if 90% of the time when you're in a work situation, you're pissed off, that's impacting your health. You don't let that job kill you. You're choosing that. Look into other options. There's always a choice. We act like there isn't, but there's always a choice. And it's tough for some people, and I get that, but I want to encourage people not to fall into this defeatist thinking. And then some people would even go, well, I have a job and so many other people don't have a job, so why should I complain? Not telling you to complain. Not telling you not to be grateful for what you don't have. Moreover, it's more like, hey, how could I be my best self? What environment would give me that? And then in relationships, y'all, let me tell you. So many people want to be paired up with another person so bad. Like they just want companionship or whatever a relationship means to them. And a lot of people don't realize everybody's not looking for the same thing when they get in a relationship. That's the deal. We're not all looking for the same stuff. Some people are looking to be saved. Some people are looking to be cherished. Some people are just looking for someone to share their life with. That's kind of more like I am. But in relationships, just for the sake of having one, people will accept all kinds of treatment and abuse that is not necessary. They just do it. They'll not have any standards. I think that's the worst thing that one could do is not have any standards. But you have to know where your place of peace is. You have to be at peace with yourself before you draw somebody else into your situation. I don't want to stress anybody else out. I don't like how it feels when I'm stressed out. So the last thing that I want to do is pull somebody towards me when I'm going through my own chaos. You know what I mean? But moreover, everybody, I want people to reconnect to their personal power. You have choices even when you don't think that you do. And I cannot stress this enough. I can't stress it enough. Stress is a choice, so is peace. Every state of being that we experience is a choice. I know there will be people that argue with me on it and say, well, when these things happen that I didn't ask for that affected me, I didn't choose that. Nah, you might not have chosen what happened to you, but you're choosing how you respond. Take the stress away. Remove that. Come out of it a better person. Just because, okay, I'll give you an example. I had someone who I thought was my friend stab me in the back. How many people have had that happen? I'm sure a lot of people have. Now, I could choose to dwell on that, be mad, stay in that anger, allow the memory of the things that she did to stress me out. Or I could go, that obviously was not a situation that I was supposed to be in. That obviously was not good for me. I'm good. Let me focus on whatever it is I need to do next. It's all about redirecting your focus. Oh, here's what I wanted to say earlier. Just popped back into my head. I want y'all to think about something. We use words all the time and don't think about their meaning. If I told you to pay attention to something, what am I saying? Like when you're a little kid and you're not focusing and your mom's like, pay attention. Do you know what she's really telling you? Do you know how powerful that phrase is? Pay attention. Oh my God. I'm getting chills just thinking about the day that I figured all this out. So when you pay for something, if you walk into a store and you give somebody money for something, you're getting something in return, right? So a payment or paying denotes that there's an exchange going on. I need to go buy milk. I give them my money for milk. I get my milk. I get to leave. I need a car. I walk into a car dealership. I put my down payment down. I give them my money. I leave with my car. I've paid for it. I've left. Okay. So when we tell people to pay attention, do you realize what we're really saying? When you pay attention, you are giving your focus and your energy to something in exchange for whatever it is you get back. What are you getting back? When you pay attention to the people that stress you out, the situations that stress you out, to anything that makes you uncomfortable, you're giving your attention and energy to that in exchange for being stressed out. Is what you're paying for worth it? And unlike when you buy something at a store and you decide it's quite not for you, you could take it back. Oh, no. You get no refunds for, what you pay attention to. You bought it. That's it. There's no refunds, no exchanges, none of that. You just bought it. So when you shift your thinking and you start to realize that every single moment that you're awake and alive and aware on this planet, if you're giving your attention to something, you're paying attention. You're paying. You're saying, here, look at it like currency. It's my money. I'm giving you my money. What am I getting in return? When you start to think about your interactions in that way, I swear it'll change your life. Totally changed my life. Totally changed my life. Now I'm not as inclined to give people as much of my spiritual or universal payment as I used to be. Especially because there's no refund. Can't get the time back that I spent paying attention to shit that really didn't do anything. It's not coming back. That's a very powerful thing. And I just wanted to share that with people just because it really touched on my heart. And I always look to help people, but I realize it's a struggle. It is a struggle. I'm no longer going to give other people my keys, so to speak. The keys to drive me crazy, the keys to drive me towards happiness. That's all up to me, but it's based on your choices and what you pay attention to. So I'm hoping everybody had a happy Saturday. This is my first time doing live audio. I'm typically, when I'm doing events for Sinful Bliss, I'm usually out and about doing video stuff, and it's all our alcohol-infused desserts and stuff. But I want to start more regularly doing this because I'm starting to notice that I am so very helped by people sharing their experiences and, talking about certain things. And also, we're starting a podcast, so I can't wait to do that. But hoping everybody's having a wonderful Saturday. You can always hit me up. I'm one of those people. I like talking. Hey, I feel like people whose sun and Mercury is in the same sign, they kind of like, they talk a lot. And mine is. So yeah, we talk a lot. But seriously, if anyone ever needs anything, hit me up. Let me know. Enjoy your Saturday. And remember, I don't care what's going on. You choose how you respond to it. And not only that, the power is in your hands to change your circumstances. Don't let anybody or anything or any reason on planet Earth make you think that you're a tree. You're not a tree. You're not stuck. So if that job's stressing you out, you got to be proactive. You got to make a choice that you're not going to stay there and continue to let it kill you. And I really look at it at extremes. When stress is occurring, that's taking time away from my life. So it's killing me. So when I look at it in such a dire way, I'm more able to be like, okay, I have to do something about this. You're more inclined to make a change when you see it as being seriously impactful towards your well-being. So remember that, people. Stress is a choice. So is peace. It's always up to you. It's up to you to choose to walk the path that is made for you to be your best and highest self. And if you ever forget it at all, I'll be here to remind you. Happy Saturday to y'all. Love ya. Bye.